Hello ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing? My name is motherfucking Frank, and I bring you another team. This is a team that I made and tried on stream that ended up being pretty well. It's a Trick Room team that features Specs Crasola. We're gonna explain all of this right now. First, at the moment with the metagame, with all these crazy tier changes going around, too many to make a metagame stable, I'd say. It's quite hard, it's quite hard to make consistent teams. And people who tries is going to be using the fastest threads, the hardest hitting ones. And this is where Trick Room comes into play. Now, Trick Room has been gaining a lot of how could I say it? A lot of use lately, right? People starting to use it more because in this current metagame, it is a great way to counter the super fast threads where don't belong in one tier yet or not, that are or a metagame that's still establishing. Having a secure way to play can be nice. And we have Crasola. And I decided to choose the RU tier and put Crasola. I wanted to just use Specs Crasola because it has 145 special attack, and that's massive for the specs. I think that would be fun for videos, basically. And yeah, I decided that RU would be the tier to try it because there's a bunch of very nice Trick Room setters and Pokemons available there. So the idea, right? As I always had in this channel, perhaps we cannot make the best S tier teams. I think that's Mogan jobs. I think my way of understanding the game is just to try to use like a different strategy and see if it works in the current metagame, or bring a Pokemon on the lower tiers to have a niche in a current metagame to try to impact it, or to have just fun with it. And I think we did a pretty good job with this team. This team is Trick Room. Plain and simple. It has 5 Trick Room mons and 1 very fast mon to kind of interact without the Trick Room and have some chances to do it. But we'll explain this right now. The first one is Crasola. I wanted to use it because it seemed fun, as I said. 145 base special attack, specs modest. Seems like a blast. And it is. Crasola mostly will be hitting Shadow Ball. There's not that many resistances to the tier, and even some dark types cannot really appreciate switching into this. Absol is not going to switch into this. Not even Drapion if it's not a bulky set, right? So it's just ridiculous, and it's accompanied with fantastic coverage, with ground and ice, which is great. And the last move is probably what I was, doubting the most. I put Burning Jealousy to hit super effectively some steals, and I thought it could be funny. Scavaliers if there's some, even though, Shadow Ball does the job. I guess having Burning Jealousy is not that bad. It can help you have some neutral hits against other stuff as well. So, I have it there. I honestly didn't know what move to put. You could put Toxic, perhaps it's even better. I thought it would just be pretty funny to use just Burning Jealousy and kill someone with that. That's pretty much the idea. Mainly, you'll be clicking Choice Specs Shadow Ball. And the ability is Perish Song. Obviously, we're not gonna put weak armor on Crasola on a Trick Room team, because raising your speed in a Trick Room team does not seem like the thing you'd want to do, right? So Perish Song, it is Perish Body. It is. It's not incredibly effective, but you can force switches. Perhaps one turn early than they would have expected, but normally it doesn't end up, being pretty useful. Of course, it also works as a spin blocker because it's a ghost, but hazards are not that important on this team anyways, but it can do that, okay? Mainly you'd want to be switching this or bringing it after Trick Room, of course. Having turns with a lot of speed, not that many teams can withstand the power of repeated spec Shadow Balls coming from this Pokemon. And it can do well, staying in some special attacking monks because of that massive base def of 130 as well. So it's not going to be taking it well because the HP is not very high. but he's going to be taking it pretty decently, so you can stay on special hits or bring it on special Pokemons to start the ravaging of the Trick Rooms. So, having said that, coming on to the second Pokemon, we have the first Trick Room setter, and we're going to be using a pretty similar set that we use on Slowking, on Slowpoke, on the OU tier with the Glacier team that I use from Dia, and we're going to be using a Slowking in RU. With Max Defense too, Regenerator. It's got the boots to not get toxic by T-Spikes, and a Whittle down, because we're going to be switching this a lot. I have of course Trick Room and Teleport. The coverage is Psychic and Flamethrower. I think it's pretty good coverage all around. You know, you hit Steals, and the rest you hit with Psychics, which is pretty neutrally correct. But what you want to be doing with this is set up Trick Room and Teleport right after. Teleport makes Trick Room quite nice. I think it makes it even better, because you gain that free switch in instead of having to bring the bulky Trick Room Sweeper taking a hit. So Slowking is going to be the one taking the hit, but after teleporting with Regen, you're going to have a lot of HP back, 25% to be exact. So all around, fantastic. One of the key pieces of this team. Doubt is going to be surviving the whole battle, but he's going to be around for long and setting up Trick Rooms, doing a lot of damage. The next Pokemon is Aromatise. We're going to have Aromatise as another Trick Room setter and sweeper with Nasty Plot Trick Room. Now the item I decided to give him is Babiri Berry, but you can also give it the Cambia Berry for the... I think that's the set Tommy used. He did say Aromatise was pretty good, and I had to try it too. And honestly, it's very nice. 99 base special attack is pretty strong, a lot of HP. But the good thing about this Trick Room setter is that its ability, Aroma Veil. Now, Aroma Veil, it protects you from pretty much all like counter style moves, right? You cannot get Disabled, Encore, and Taunted. That's the main three that you want to be avoiding with Aromatise. With Aroma Veil, you can pretty much ensure that you can get Trick Rooms up. Nasty Plot, you're going to be greeted most of the times with Pokemon that take your dual stabs, like Steel types especially. And being able to surpass those defenses, those resistances with Nasty Plot is great. You're not going to have too much chances to do it, because of course we don't have recovery on these Aromatise, but still, it can do a lot of damage late game with very powerful Moonblasts and hitting on the physical side with Psyshock. So very nice addition. Babiri Berry is the item. Cambia Berry is pretty good. You can even go Life Orb if you're crazy. Or Lefties. I think that's the... I don't think the item is too important on Aromatise. But you know, if you end up choosing or using something else, let me know. And now, I'm gonna be running and using... and talking about what I used, which is Copperajah. Life Orb Copperajah. We're gonna have Heavy Slam, Earthquake, and Power Whip. I think this is one of the best Pokemons on the team. It's very strong, very powerful with the Life Orb, Heavy Metal, Heavy Slams. It destroys on Trick Room. It really does. And for the switch-ins, you'd have Bulky Waters, which I put Power Whip in. Now you'd think with Heavy Metal having Heat Crash is very good, and it is. So if you want to remove rocks, you could do it. But I just didn't want to remove rocks. It's very useful. Trick Room setters having that extra passive damage during the whole battle, it's very good to help them pick KOs that otherwise they wouldn't. So that's why I have rocks. I think they're very important. But if you want to change it, got all out Heat Crash, just do it. And Earthquake for extra coverage. It is important that perhaps instead of Earthquake we could run Heat Crash as well. But all around, I think Steel, Ground, and Grass does hit most of the tier excellently. And on Trick Room, nothing will be switching on it, and we'll be able to retaliate it or answer it next. Then we do have Porygon. Porygon is going to be a download offensive set, of course. It has base 105 special attack, very good. And this is the set that I'm most still not sure about. So you can just there's several moves that I want to use. The moves that will be on Porygon for sure for me are going to be Ice Beam, are going to be T-Bolt, are going to be Trick Room. It's not a Trick Room Saturn, of course. So you have 3 of them on this team, which makes it pretty consistent. And then I have Ice Beam T-Bolt because it's all around very nice coverage. As always, it's always been. With Download too, if you get that plus special attack with that base special attack that Porygon 2 has, boom, you're gonna be hitting crazy damage. And the last move I decided to put is Toxic. Now there's other very nice and valuable options you could put in there. I had Recover at first instead of Toxic, and I thought about putting Teleport as well for the same reason as Slowking. Since I decided to not give it the same exact role as Slowking, I decided to put Toxic in there. Now what is Toxic for? This team is very strong and powerful, but it has like one Pokemon that did very nasty. It did very nasty on this team, and it's actually Porygon 2 as well. So the fancy Porygon 2 actually kind of stops this team because you cannot click Shadow Ball with Cursola. You cannot do enough damage with the rest of Launch. The only thing you can do is to try to set up with Aromatise or weaken him with Copper Raja, or use the last mon that I will tell you in some seconds. But it still does, sometimes it just doesn't hit hard enough because Porygon, defensive Porygon with a Violite, it's incredibly bulky. So the thing I came up with is to use Toxic. Most of my Pokemons in Trick Room, I want them to kind of die to just keep the momentum going and bring another one. That's how it usually goes in Trick Room. So not having Recover, I didn't think it was that important to be. And having Toxic, it's gonna help you taking down all the Porygons too that will most times switch in on this. So that's why I have Toxic. Again, not a sure move. I think it's debatable that you can switch other things on the team if you want it, but as I was trying the team, I think this was the best version. Yes, I think that's it. The last Pokemon we're going to be seeing is the counterpart of the rest 5, which is the fast Pokemon on the tier. This one is going to be Zygote Duck. Zygote 10%, Zygote 10%, with a choice band. I've been thinking of using Scarf. I usually use Scarf on Trick Room teams for the fast mon, if I use a fast mon. But it just ended up being not that great. The Scarf, you need like ridiculous damage, and Choice Banded Zygote can provide that for sure. 1000 Arrows does not have resistances. That's how it is. 90 base power, stab, no missing, and we can improve the lack of speed by adding extreme speed on Zygote. So late game, Zygote jobs is just to clean up. Most team will have a hard time taking down the Trick Room boys. They're very tanky, of course, because the IVs are on HP. And most teams try to rely on incredible speed mons after they dealt with the incredibly bulky team of Trick Room and powerful Trick Room team. So having just Zygote Duck come in, which is available in RU because you got banned from NU, and PU, obviously. I don't know why I was doing that, but it lasted like one day. You could use it. You have banded extreme speed, so even if they keep the super fast mons to clean up your Trick Room team for the end, you have banded E-speed to just negate that. And I won some games thanks to this. The other moves are, of course, the other stab option in Outrage. Great to have as well. Mostly you'll be clicking 1000 Arrows at E-speed, but having the stab Outrage is never bad, especially late game with most resistances would be dealt with. And the last move is Crunch, just because you have to have some coverage there. There's several options you could use. You could even use Brick Break if you want. Just nothing too special. Earthquake if you just don't need 1,000 arrows for extra power. Glare, I guess. Rock Slide. You have several options. I decided to go for Crunch because it's great to hit super effectively, like Reuniclus and Pokemons of that kind. But I think other options could be studied well. Maybe Superpower could be interesting to deal with the Porygon 2 problem as well. So perhaps this could be an option, and then you can change the teleport or recover on the actual Porygon. But I don't know, just some things you can think about while preparing, you know, this team if you end up using it. Of course, thank you guys for watching. The team is the importable, will be in the description, and also it will be in the Pokemon Pro website, which I will link always in the description, in which we can find there my best teams that will be saved. They're saved there and easily available and copy paste there. So I implore you to just give the website a watch. And there's also gonna be a lot of content creators, competitive content creators in there, putting their teams as well. So if you want to see more in VGC as well, all the tiers, it's fantastic. So I approve that you guys give it a watch. And I think that's enough talking for me today. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoy the team, and let me know if you make changes, how the team went, and if it's good. What do you think? What would you change? And you know, just have a little bit of a debate here in the comments if possible. I always love reading those. And that's it. So goodbye. Have a good one.